You're really going to marry a waiter, Hannah? In front of everyone? I froze at the altar, Adam's hand warm in mine, while my sister Brooke strutted up the aisle like she owned the chapel. My whole life I'd been the safey one, teacher, quiet, sensible, while Brooke chased money and status like oxygen. And there she was, turning my wedding into her roast. But here's what she didn't know. Adam wasn't the help. He was the heir to the Cole hospitality fortune, choosing to learn the business from the floor up. So tell me, am I in the wrong for letting her humiliate him, knowing what was coming next? Drop your thoughts below, and if you want the full tea, hit subscribe. I still hear it first, Brooke's stilettos cracking against stone. Right after the pastor said, "If anyone objects," like the whole chapel held its breath just to give her a stage. Tiny Vermont chapel, stained glass, my mom crying softly. Adam and I had just finished our vows, hands locked, hearts wide open. Then Brooke stood up in the second row in a navy designer dress that probably cost more than my car. "This is a joke," she snapped. "Hannah, you're throwing your life away. You're marrying a waiter. A waiter." 100 faces swung toward us. My dad looked like he'd been punched. Someone coughed. Someone whispered, "Oh my God." Adam didn't flinch. He just squeezed my hand, steady, grounding, like he was anchoring me to the truth. Brooke kept going because that's what she does. "You went to Princeton," she barked, like my degree was something she could use to shame me. "You had options. And now you're choosing this?" She looked Adam up and down like he was a stain. "Don't come crying to me when you're living above a pizza place." I wanted to fire back. I wanted to list every slick little insult she'd tossed at me over the years, every "still driving that old Corolla," wrapped in perfume and superiority. But my throat locked. Not because I doubted Adam, because Brooke knew exactly how to hurt me and make it look like concern. Adam leaned toward me, barely moving his lips. "Should we tell her?" He mouthed, eyes bright with that private mischief I loved. I gave the smallest shake of my head. "Not yet." Brooke threw her hands up like she'd saved me from myself. "Unbelievable," she said, and spun toward the aisle. The oak doors groaned as she stormed out, and the silence she left behind was heavy enough to hear. The pastor cleared his throat. "Shall we continue?" "Yes," I said, surprising myself. "Please." The rest of the ceremony felt cleaner, lighter. When Adam kissed me, it wasn't for the crowd. It was a quiet promise. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. Outside, guests tossed dried lavender. People kept glancing toward the parking lot like Brooke might come back for round two. Instead, Adam guided me to a vintage Rolls-Royce waiting by the steps. "Nice rental," I joked, because humor is my survival skill. He grinned. "From my collection." On the ride to the reception, his thumb traced circles on my knuckles. "She'll show," he said. "She can't resist." And he was right. Brooke didn't come to celebrate. She came to judge. To sniff at our food, count our forks, and confirm her favorite story, that I was the boring sister who settled. But our reception wasn't in a barn or a hotel ballroom. It was at the Cole Grand Reserve. Marble floors, chandeliers like frozen fireworks, servers in white gloves moving like quiet ghosts. Guests stepped inside and actually stopped walking. I heard someone whisper, "How did they get in here?" I just smiled because I knew the answer. Brooke arrived late as usual. The second she saw the room, her face did something I'd never seen. It cracked. "This has to be a mistake," she said too loudly. "They don't do weddings here." She marched to me with a tight smile. "Hannah, sweetheart, what is this? Who did you beg? Did you pull strings with your little teacher salary?" Her voice carried, sharp enough to cut today. Adam stepped beside me, calm as ever. "No mistake," he said. "Welcome home." If you've ever watched someone's ego realize it's standing naked in public, that was the moment. Brooke blinked at Adam like her brain had hit a wall. "Welcome home?" she repeated, laughing once, nervous, fake. You work at that little Italian place outside Boston." "I do," Adam said. "Trattoria Lucia, great kitchen." "But this place," she insisted, sweeping her arm at the chandeliers. "People wait years to get invited here." a new voice cut in behind us. Adam. Heads turned. An older man in a dark tailored suit approached, cane tapping softly on marble. Silver hair, sharp eyes, the kind of presence that makes a room straighten up. Grandpa, Adam said, hugging him. Charles Cole kissed my cheek. So you're Hannah, he said, the woman who finally got my grandson to stop hiding in kitchens. Then he faced Brooke. And you must be the sister. I heard you made quite a scene. Brooke swallowed. I didn't know. I was trying to protect her. Protect her from a waiter, Charles replied, polite but deadly. Brooke's lips parted. Nothing came out. Adam didn't gloat. He didn't raise his voice. He just said it gently like a fact. Brooke, I'm Adam Cole. My dad was Richard Cole. Cole Hospitality. It took a beat to land. When it did, her champagne flute slipped from her fingers and shattered. The sound echoed. No one rushed in to rescue her from the mess. Everyone was watching the truth unfold. And then Adam did the last thing she deserved. He offered his hand. Stay, he said. Enjoy tonight. There's room here for everyone, if they're willing to see people for who they are. Brooke stared at him, stunned. I stood there feeling two emotions collide, satisfaction and a deep, old ache. Because I didn't want my sister to be humiliated. I just wanted her to stop hurting me. We danced, ate, and tried to move forward. Brooke stayed quiet, hovering at the edges, like the loudest person in the room had run out of oxygen. 10 months later, life flipped the scoreboard. Adam and I lived in a modest brownstone by the harbor. I kept teaching. Adam rotated through properties, checking in on cooks and servers, learning every job he'd someday oversee. It was 11:40 p.m. on a rainy Thursday when someone hammered our door. Brooke stood there soaked, mascara streaking, shaking. They're taking everything, she whispered. The house, the car. Trevor's under federal investigation. Insider trading. Fraud. I don't know what to do. I won't lie. Part of me wanted to say, you finally get it. But she looked terrified, like a person who'd built her whole identity on luxury and suddenly realized it was smoke. I let her in. She sat on the couch like she was afraid to take up space. I've never started over, she said. I don't know how to be normal. Adam shut his laptop. There's an apartment above one of our smaller restaurants in Cambridge, he said. It's safe. It's simple. It's a start. Brooke's eyes widened. You'd do that? After what I did? Yes, I said. On one condition. She stared at me. You work in the restaurant, I told her. Not behind a desk. You start where Adam started. Dish pit, tables, prep, closing shifts. All of it. Her mouth fell open. Hannah, I don't know how. That's the point, I said, my voice finally cracking. You learn, you earn. You see the people you used to look down on. A long silence, then her shoulders dropped like surrender. Okay, she whispered. I'll do it. And there I realized the real reckoning wasn't the chandeliers. It was whether she could survive without them. The next week, Brooke moved into that tiny apartment above our Cambridge spot with 2 suitcases and no staff trailing behind her. No driver, no assistant. Just a narrow staircase that smelled like garlic and fryer oil. Her first shift started at 4 p.m. I showed up early because I didn't trust her not to bolt. The kitchen was loud, hot, tickets spitting out nonstop. Brooke walked in wearing non-slip shoes and an apron she held like it might bite. The chef, a tough woman named Marisol, didn't care who Brooke used to be. You're on dish, Marisol said. Break something, you replace it. Late once, you're gone. Brooke blinked. Dish, like washing? Like washing, Marisol said, already moving. Within 15 minutes, Brooke dropped a rack of water glasses. The crash made the whole line freeze for a heartbeat. Brooke went pale. Oh my God, she whispered. Marisol handed her a broom. Clean it, then keep moving. Later, I found my sister in the walk-in freezer, crying with her hands over her mouth so nobody would hear. I can't do this, she choked out. Everyone thinks I'm stupid. They don't think you're stupid, I said. They think you're new, like everyone is on day one. She shook her head hard. I used to think, this kind of work meant you failed. That sentence landed like a punch, because it explained every sneer she'd ever aimed at me and at people she'd never even looked at. You don't get to pity people you've never tried to understand, I told her, quiet but sharp. You want respect? Earn it. Same way they do. Brooke wiped her face with her sleeve. Okay, she whispered. Tell me what to do. So I did. Not as her savior, just as her witness. And Brooke did the only thing that actually changes someone. She kept showing up. Day after day. Blisters. Sore wrists. Grease under her nails. She learned how to bus tables without looking lost. How to stack plates so nothing slid. How to take correction without snapping back. She started learning names. She started saying thank you like she meant it. A few months in, the dishwasher, Malik, burned his hand on a pan. Brooke jumped in and finished his station while he wrapped it. Nobody clapped, nobody filmed it, but Marisol gave her the smallest nod, and Brooke looked like she'd just won a medal. 6 months later, I stopped by right before dinner rush. The place buzzed with chaos, pans clattering, servers weaving, heat and basil in the air. And there was Brooke at the pass, hair in a tight bun, sleeves rolled, calling orders with confidence. Adam leaned close to me. They trust her, he murmured. She earned it. After shift, we slid into a back booth. Brooke looked exhausted, but it was the good kind. Earned. Adam kept his voice casual. How would you feel about managing this location? Brooke froze. Me. You, I said. You've done every job here. You didn't quit. Her eyes filled. I used to think success meant being admired, she said, voice thin. Now I know it's being respected. For something real. At the next family gathering, she wore her restaurant uniform like armor. My dad stared. My mom's eyes got wet. Nobody laughed. Nobody could. And that's the twist I didn't see coming. The sister who tried to wreck my wedding ended up rebuilding herself in a dish pit. So if you're watching and you're furious on my behalf, trust me, I was too. But tell me, if you were me, would you have opened the door when she came knocking? So that's where we are now. Adam and I are still living quietly, still choosing character over flash. Brooke runs that Cambridge location like she's protecting something precious because she is. Not a brand, not a lifestyle. A second chance. Do I forgive her completely? Some days, yes. Some days my chest still tightens when I remember her voice in that chapel. You're marrying a waiter. Trauma doesn't disappear just because someone grows. But I also watched my sister learn what my students learned the hard way. Respect isn't bought, it's built. One shift, one apology, one honest hour at a time. And I learned something too. Grace isn't weakness. Sometimes it's the only power that actually changes people. Because I'm still healing and still learning too. So, am I in the wrong for not exposing Adam sooner? For letting Brooke crash into her own assumptions and then helping her rebuild when her world collapsed? If you've ever been the sensible one in a family that rewards the loudest ego, you get it. Tell me in the comments what you would have done. And if you want more stories like this, messy, human, and painfully real, hit like, share it with a friend, and subscribe.